Hello guys, my name is Vishwaduk Shahu. Today we are back with our new podcast video, which is MS in Netherlands, and this is going to be an interesting video. And hi, Mr. Anand, please tell us about yourself, and please let us continue and let us start this video. So please tell us about yourself with your profile.
Hello everyone, my name is Anand Raja. I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering from PES University in Bangalore, and then I proceeded to do my master's in material science from TU Delft in the Netherlands. I currently have completed my master's degree and I am seeking research opportunities.
Now that's really great. So can you tell us about your GRE or TOEFL score if you have given?
So I only had to give TOEFL for entry into TU Delft. So my TOEFL score was 107.
Okay, that's good. And you have only given TOEFL and not any other test code.
No, I didn't have to give any other test.
Okay. So in Netherlands, is it like that means you can give GRE or is there anything like that? You do not have to give GRE.
So it depends very much on the university that you're applying to, but also in Delft, it depends on the department that you're applying. So there are some departments that have a very competitive admission process, and they hope that you have a GRE score, or they ask you for your GRE score. So if you're applying for courses in the aerospace department, for example, you have to give your GRE exam. Because mine was in a different department, it was in the mechanical, maritime, and materials department. I didn't have to give a GRE test.
Okay. So can you tell us why you chose Netherlands instead of any other country? Means you could have chosen USA or Germany because people mainly goes there itself.
So I predominantly wanted to come to Europe to do my master's.
Okay.
So I didn't say specifically I want to come to the Netherlands. I wanted to come to Europe in general. And I chose the Netherlands because I was evaluating a number of different universities for material science courses. And I felt that the Netherlands offered the best material science program, or Delft for that matter, offered the best material science program amongst all the universities.
So, as you told us about the university, it was TU Delft, right? So, please tell us about the universities that you applied for your master's degree, the other universities that you applied for.
So, this was quite an interesting process for me because TU Delft was my top priority. And then I had a few universities in Sweden lined up, and as well as Germany. But because I applied first to TU Delft, I got through already, and I had gotten my acceptance quite early. So I had gotten my acceptance from TU Delft in December. And that's when I decided, because I got my first option, I don't really have to apply to any other universities.
Oh, wow. That's
Okay, so was there any other reason for keeping TU Delft at the first university in your priority list? Was there any other reason about it?
Yes. So material science, as you can imagine, is quite a vast field. To give you a perspective, there are many things that is involved in the field of material science. So you have disciplines from mechanical engineering, you have disciplines from chemical engineering, electrical, electronics, pure sciences as well. Because my background was in mechanical engineering, I was more focused on universities that offered a material science program that was collaborative with the mechanical department. And because TU Delft had this unique opportunity where material science was integrated within the mechanical department, I thought that I would fit in much better within Delft than any other universities, for that matter of fact.
Okay.
wow.
So,
So why did you choose your master's in material science and engineering?
Okay, so when I was in my bachelor's, I was involved with a couple of projects. One which gave me an opportunity to travel to Mexico and work with a number of people in different universities and from around the world. Through that project, I understood some key important things, which is master specialization allows you to focus more towards specific areas in research. It's better that I answer this with an example. So let's say you are
Sure.
designing. So let's say you're designing a vehicle, for example. You don't design the entire vehicle as an engineer. You specifically look at one sub-assembly. So either you focus on the chassis, or you focus on the powertrain, or you focus on aerodynamics, etc., etc. And because my interest in when it came to things like this was predominantly to do with structures and materials, that's how I decided to opt for material science as a degree program or a specialization program.
Okay, that's great. And why? Can you tell us about the cost of studying masters in material science in TU Delft?
So in the recent years, the tuition fees has gone up slightly. I just checked it recently, and I found out that the cost is around 18,750 euros per year. This is tuition fees alone. But the Dutch government also has certain guidelines. So although your housing and other options are going to be flexible, the Dutch government expects you to at least have or show a financial security of about 800 to 900 euros per month for other expenses.
Okay, that's great. And can you tell us about the course structure?
So like any other typical European university course or a technical university course, your master's program is for 120 ECTS.
Okay.
And in Delft, specifically for material science, it is split equally between the courses that you have to take. So the mandatory courses occupy about 40 ECTS. Then you can choose to specialize in your own domain for another 40 ECTS. And then your thesis is also again for 40 ECTS. There is like some flexibility of about 5 or 10 credits here and there based on how you want to do your thesis or how you want to do your specialization. But yeah, that is the typical split. So you're split 1/3 between mandatory courses, 1/3 for your specialization, and then another 1/3 for your thesis.
Okay, so can you tell us about what is the internship opportunity or funding?
So you can do your internships in two ways. One is you can do it as a part of your specialization, of course, which then will give you some number of credits, like typically 15 or 20 credits or 30 credits, depending on how long you want your internship to be.
Okay.
Some of those credits will be a part of your specialization program. But you can also do an internship from another way, which is you can choose to do a long internship. And so let's say you want to associate yourself with an industry for over a year for a project or something like that before you actually start working for them. You can also choose to split your 1-year tenure into an internship plus the project tenure, and then choose to work that way, so that your course requirements are satisfied. That is one way of doing it. But in terms of funding, there's another way of looking at it. For projects, if let's say you want to do projects, one way you can approach the projects is through saying you have your own project or your own approach to doing things. And then it's a matter of networking and talking with professors or industrial people and things like that. But because Delft in general is also a state-funded university, the government of the Netherlands and a lot of companies realize that Delft has some of the best researchers within the country. And so there are quite a few government-funded projects as well available within the Netherlands. And these are in collaboration with professors and other people. So that's how I also came across one of my internship opportunities, which is to work alongside a professor who was sort of the advisor for a company. And that's how I got my internship opportunity.
Okay, that's great. It means that it has a flexible course structure. Means you can also take internship while you are doing your master's.
Yes, you can take your internship while you're doing a master's.
Okay, and they will also provide ECTS points, credits for that internship. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have seen that many students from India requires to do certain amount of internships so that they can gain certain amount of credit, like 30 to 40 credits.
Yeah. So the internship is so typically in Europe, what happens is you split the master's course between 1 year for your coursework and 1 year for all other opportunities. Now, this all other opportunities aspect is quite vague. It could be your internship as a part of your specialization course, or it could be part of your thesis itself. Or a lot of people will also decide to do 1 year of coursework and then an exchange program in another university.
Okay.
So if you're more research oriented, then you can opt for coursework from other universities. And that would also be counted as an internship or something that you did outside of your university for 30 or 40 credits, or how many other credits you're looking for.
Wow, that's really great. Okay, so now let us come towards, so what type of different activities students participate apart from their coursework or apart from academic?
So if you're an international master student, there is typically two ways you can look at this. One is if you're looking to secure your financial stability, or if you're looking to settle your financial situation. In that case, you can opt for just long-term internship programs like what I was telling you, or a lot of them do take up part-time jobs within the university itself. So they work as lab assistants or teaching assistants for different professors and things like that. But apart from these, you can also do what I did, which is Delft has a wonderful opportunity where students like to come together and work on projects of their own. And these are called student team projects. And as far as Delft is concerned, there is a huge variety in the type of project, and also the rigor with which they do this project. So if you have not heard, there are some really famous student teams from Delft. There is Formula Student Team Delft, which is ranked amongst the top 5 in the world. Then you have Delft Aerospace Rocket Engineering, which build and design their own rocket to launch into space. Then there are people who race solar powered cars, and they have participated in some of the biggest competitions in the year. You can also find information about all of these on social media sites. So they routinely they keep updating their social media, and if you just look through YouTube again for more videos about all these student teams, then you can find really interesting documentary series and things like that.
Okay, means they are hugely diversified in these types of things.
Yeah. So the thing about Delft or the Dutch students in general is that unlike us Indians, like where we try to finish our masters or our bachelors within the 4-year period, they don't mind taking a year or two off to work on projects of their own. And they opt not to do any coursework for a year or 2 years or whatever, however long, and they choose to do these full-fledged projects instead. And that gives them an opportunity to sort of expand on what they have learned about in their class.
Wow. Even international students can do that.
Yes, international students can also choose to be flexible with how they want to do their master's program. So typically when someone signs up for their master's, they think that it is only for 2 years. Of course, you'll have to bear the expenses and the fees for the additional years. That is indeed a challenge. But as far as your visa and credit requirements go, you can stretch your master's program if you want to up to 4 years and choose to do whatever you want to in each year of your master's program.
Wow, that's really great.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
So please tell us about which option did you opt for, the thesis one or the non-thesis one? Like there are two options, right? Thesis and project.
So in Delft, the thesis is mandatory. So if let's say you choose to do a project along with the industry as well, that will be an external project, but it will be graded with professors within Delft as part of your thesis work as well. So the thesis is a mandatory phase for masters, and that's what everyone did, and that's what I did as well.
Okay. So what about the housing scenario? Like, what's the housing scenario in Netherlands? There are two kinds of housing, like one is on campus and the other one is off campus. So please tell
Yeah.
us about it.
Yeah. So I'm not very sure about other universities within the Netherlands, but as far as Delft is concerned, Delft by itself does not offer on-campus like dorm-style on-campus housing, but Delft collaborates with housing agencies for students, and there are a couple of housing options outside of the campus. So it's not technically campus housing. It is actually independent housing, but it's located within the vicinity of the campus. And so there are quite a few buildings or housing options like this. If you choose to go through a housing agency, for example, typically you will be living in an apartment with 200 or 300 other international students. And you'd be living in studio-style apartments or shared accommodations between 2 or 3 people. And these turn out to be around 500 euros. But if you want to, you can also contact people who rent their houses separately. So just like how you would typically rent a house in India or anywhere else in the world, there are also people who rent out their houses for students, and then you can live in these shared accommodations. And these can also be cheaper or expensive depending on what kind of a house you're looking for.
Okay. So tell us about the universities. Name some universities which are good to study masters in your field. It can be within Netherlands or Europe.
So I would classify universities for material science in 3 different regions in the world. One would be US and Canada. The other would be Europe, and then there's the Asia part. So if you're looking for US and Canada, for example, then I'm pretty sure that you're already, like, as the mass majority of people are well aware, there is a certain structure to which US and Canadian universities operate under. And this is pretty similar for material science as well. So if you're looking to do a master's, it's typically either a 1-year or a 2-year course, and there's a tuition fee, and the entire structure remains the same, but it's more a specialization oriented coursework. And universities that are present in the US include some of the top ranking universities like MIT and Stanford, but also other universities like Caltech, and then there's Northwestern, and so on and so forth. So the list goes on. In terms of European universities, there are all the big European universities offer a really good material science program. So there is places in the UK like Cambridge, for example, or in Oxford. Then there are universities in Switzerland. So there is EPFL and ETH. Then you also have German universities like RWTH Aachen and TU Munich. Then in the Netherlands, of course, you have Delft. You also have KU Leuven in Belgium. In Sweden, you have KTH. So these are so many options you have in Europe.
So many universities.
So many big names are on the list right now. I can.
Yeah.
That's great.
And in Asia, again, you have the big universities. So you have universities in Japan, like Tokyo University, for example. Then you have universities in Singapore, both NTU and NSU. And then you have a couple of other universities in China and Korea. So universities like Tsinghua, universities like KAIST. So all of these offer, like all the universities that I've mentioned till now, they're all ranked within the top 50 QS World rankings for material science.
Yeah, right. There are so many great universities and so many named universities that you just took in your list. That's great. So please tell us about the job search visa in Netherlands.
So the job search visa in the Netherlands is typically meant for people who are specialized or who have a really good educational background. And this is available at 2 different phases. So it's available once after you've done your master's, but it's also available again after you've done your PhD as well. And if you are doing both your master's and PhD in the Netherlands, you can apply it twice after each time if you want to. And it lasts for 1 year. So typically your study visa that expires 3 months after you've graduated. So in that period, you can choose to apply for your job search visa. And then the moment your study visa expires, your job search visa will kick in. And from that period onwards, it will last for another 1 year. So effectively, you will have about 1 year and 3 months at hand at the end of each phase. So after your master's, you'll have 1 year and 3 months to search for a job, and after your PhD, you'll again have 1 year and 3 months. But the advantage here is, let's say you decide to travel back to your country of origin as an international student. Anytime within the 3-year period of your graduation, you still are eligible to apply for this work search visa and choose to come back to the Netherlands if you want to look for a job.
Okay, so means people does like that.
Yeah, there are people who do that. It again depends on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for things like settling down in the Netherlands in the long run of things, then you don't really want breaks in your visa period. So you want it to be continuous for as long as possible. But if you're okay with breaks and if you're looking to sort of spend some time doing something else, then yeah, you have 3 years at hand after your master's to do whatever you want to, and then come back to the Netherlands again to hunt for a job.
Wow. So can you tell us about the job market of a master's after doing master's in material science?
So the job market is quite diverse. Like I mentioned before as well, the field in itself is quite diverse. So it really depends on the type of jobs that you're looking for. But in my own experience, Delft does a beautiful job of informing its students about all the opportunities that are available. So let's say you're looking, for example, then you can get in touch with. Hello?
Yeah, you can continue. Actually, there was some network problem.
Okay. So let's say you are working at a company for your internship, and if they are looking to hire you further, or if you're just looking to expand within their own company, you have that option available to you. But Delft also has internship offices within the department. Each department has its own internship office, which tells you about job offers and this opportunities in general. Outside of this, you also have career fairs within Delft. So Delft organizes one of the biggest career fairs for jobs in the Netherlands, at least. And that happens on campus. It takes place for 5 days, but the entire fair itself lasts for almost 2 months, where you have the option of going to the company for coffee dates and understanding one-on-one what the work structure is like. You can also share your CVs with the companies if you want to. And you can also go on tours to companies. So some companies offer opportunities for you to go and have a look at their facilities and their offices. So yeah, there is no dearth in opportunities in general for jobs. But yeah, you'll then have to sit down and decide, at least for material science, you'll have to sit down and decide what area it is that you're looking for jobs. So yeah.
Okay, that's really great. So can you tell us about what to expect from universities of Netherlands in upcoming years? Means how they are going to change their course structure or like that, if anything they want to change.
So in the recent years, the government in the Netherlands has been making it a strong point to say that in the long run of things, they will focus on sustainability and a circular economy as one key aspect. And because a majority of the technical universities in the Netherlands are funded or have ties with the government,
okay.
So they also adopt this strategy. So Delft, for example, likes to say that sustainability is one of the pillars of innovation that they're looking towards. So a lot of their projects, a lot of the funding and research opportunities that are currently available, they are geared towards opportunities like these. So there are, if you want to work on solar and wind energy, for example, or if you want to work on renewable materials,
Yes.
or if you are looking to make a carbon neutral operation, or electric vehicles and the future of mobility, smart structures, you name it. So in all of these fields, the Netherlands is looking to include sustainability and renewability as one of their pillars. And I think this will be reflected across all universities for technical courses at least. And that is something that you can look forward towards. And it is, in fact, an interesting thing to look forward towards if you're especially keen on renewable energy, for example.
Wow, that's really great. So can you tell us about your visa experience?
So the visa experience is actually quite pleasant for the Netherlands. I've heard a lot of stories about American visa situations.
Yeah.
It is not the same here. So in case you get selected by DELFT, then it becomes DELFT's responsibility to say that we want this person as a student. So
Wow.
DELFT,
that's really great.
so
And
DELFT will
I have
then
seen
start.
students who actually got in good universities in US, but in their visa interview they got rejected. So it really hurts at that point of time.
Yeah. So the way it works here is if you're hiring or if you're taking aboard an international person for a specialization role, it's almost as if the university or the organization has to prove that they need this person. So if you apply for study, higher education, or work in the Netherlands, then the university or the employer will apply for the visa on your behalf. So let's say you get selected by DELFT, then they ask you to pay the tuition fees and the visa processing fees, and then they will apply for your visa. And unless there is a grave security threat or there's some sort of situation, in most of the cases, the visa is just a formality from that point on time. So DELFT says it usually takes about 2 or 3 months for the visa process to be completed. And you don't have to move a lot of paperwork until then. It's you just submitting your documents to DELFT directly. And beyond that process, what happens is the visa is granted in a 2-stage process. So before you leave the country, you have to go to the embassy that is closest to you, the Dutch embassy that is closest to you or the one of your choice, and get an MVV visa stamped. This is an entry visa that lasts for 90 days, and it's a multiple entry visa, and it's also a Schengen visa. So you can use it to travel between countries, but it also gives you the flexibility of saying you don't have to have a direct port of entry into the Netherlands. You can also land in Europe and then go into the Netherlands if you want to. But in those 90-day period, you will also get the permanent study residence permit that from the university itself. So the university or the immigration office, they will say you can come and collect your residence permit once you have landed in the Netherlands. So yeah, it is a very streamlined process. And if you are applying to a university, the university itself will brief you very clearly on the visa process and everything that you have to do.
Wow, that's really great. So university is very helpful in these types of things.
Yeah. So in my experience, the international offices at DELFT, they have been very prompt and they typically respond within 2 or 3 days from you sending the mail, because they know that as an international student, these are some of the queries that are important, or these are very important things for you. So as much as possible, they try to make your study experience in DELFT or in the Netherlands as pleasant as possible without a lot of paperwork or formalities to worry about.
Okay.
Sounds like Netherlands is standing with wide open arms for international students right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone is looking to just sort of explore master's options or higher education options in Europe in general, then yeah, definitely Netherlands also, although it is slightly more expensive compared to a lot of other countries, it is a lot cheaper compared to US or Canada, for example.
Yes.
And it
Definitely.
does give you there is quite some flexibility for study and research opportunities in the Netherlands.
And
So
it also
definitely
has
worth
some
considering.
great opportunities for doing work after your MS.
Yeah, it also does.
Great.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for staying in this video. And thank you very much, Mr. Anand, for helping us out by making this video. If you want to tell something.
No worries. No, I mean, I think this approach of interacting with people is a very innovative and creative idea. And I think it is equally at the same time also well appreciated or required, because these questions are typically questions that a lot of people have. And especially from my own experience, I can say that these are questions I also had myself about where to apply and what to look for. So a helping hand always is ideal, I would say. So yeah.
Thank you very much. And this will really help students who are aspiring to study in Netherlands or any part of Europe. This can help. And we are going to do our next video on the MS in US once again. So keep watching and please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any type of doubt, then please comment down below. And we will give the link of your LinkedIn in our description section.
No worries.
Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.